mosaic. With more than 100 native ethnic groups, each speaking their own unique dialect, Myanmar is not just a country that's rich in language, it is a nation where the languages and dialects serve as the connection to the country's identity, culture, and history. Today, let's dive deeper into the world of Myanmar's dialects and explore the factors that make each one unique. In order to discuss Myanmar's languages and dialects, the official language of Myanmar, which is Burmese, cannot be forgotten. According to Unwon's article in the Atlantic magazine on Burma, the original Burmese is Tibeto-Burman group of the Tibeto-Chinese family of languages. Of course, as a very cultured and diverse country, we have history and roots from multiple places, but Tibeto-Burman is known to be the origin of Burmese. Languages of Myanmar by Graham Thurgood states that different dialects are spoken across Myanmar. Danu, Yo, Bay, Dawe, Balo, Inda, Dayo, and many more. With 135 indigenous ethnic groups in Myanmar, they're grouped into 8 national races: Kachin, Kaya, Kayin, Chin, Bama, Mu, Rakhine, and Shan. It has many dialects across the country. In order to talk about Myanmar's dialects and languages, let's explore the factors that influence the evolution. Geography had a big influence on dialects. So in places like Shan State or Kachin State, the mountains between the regions kept people isolated, and over time, their dialects became distinct from the rest of the country. You'll hear it in the way Shan people speak. You'll find unique words and sounds that you wouldn't hear in standard Burmese. This is because Shan shares parts of their border with Thailand, which helps the language and culture to spread more easily. Water in Shan language would be Nam, and in Thai, it's pronounced as Nam. These similarities between different countries, these similar languages between different countries, prove that geography can shape the way people speak. The country's modernization came with British colonial influence. So terms like car, TV, and remote became part of their everyday Burmese sentences. For example, nga ka ate tasine TV atwa remote taku weme in Burmese, meaning I will buy a new car and a new remote for my TV in English, reflecting how the colonial era shaped the language. So as Myanmar moved beyond the colonial times, the next major influence came with the cultural exchange and trading with Arabic, Asian, and Thai-speaking communities. Terms like se, meaning market, became part of their everyday vocabulary. But to truly understand the language transformation, it's important to look at its historical roots. The transformation of Burmese language didn't start with the colonialism or the internet. The transformation started with after the colonial period, the transformation started with the historical roots. So in the early period, the Old Burmese was influenced by Sanskrit and Pali languages that were central to the spread of Buddhism in the region. So words like king, meaning min in Burmese, derived from the Sanskrit word called Raja, reflecting how the cultural and religious influences really reshaped the language of Myanmar. While Myanmar entered the medieval period, the cultural exchange influeed the language. So terms like se was introduced. And after these periods, can you please go to the next slide? So after this period, the modernization and globalization not only influenced the language. While modernization has unified certain aspects of the language, the dialects still reveal regional diversity. So vocabulary, word usage, and pronunciation vary across dialects. To give you an idea, in Yangon, Jana is used by men to refer to themselves as I, and Jama is used by women to refer to themselves. But when I was young, about 5 years old, I traveled to Mandalay, which is in the upper part of Myanmar, and I had a cultural shock there, because I found out that women use Jana to refer to themselves, which was very unfamiliar and strange to me as a person coming from Yangon. Because in Yangon, as you know, you wouldn't hear these Jana terms being used by women. This highlighted how even within the same country, the language can differ significantly. So while the dialects reveal cultural differences, we still have similarities between each other that made us feel united and connected. So the dialects have similarities such as basic readings and the subject, object, verb, grammar structure that remains consistent all throughout the dialects. And most of the people in Myanmar attend government schools. So in government schools, they only teach one language, which is Burmese. This makes students from every part of Myanmar, from any ethnicities, to learn the same language and feel united and connected. Just like when you find someone that speaks the same language as you in a place full of strangers, that instant connection you feel describes the signification of Myanmar. In Myanmar, we have famous proverbs used across all the country as well. So proverbs like in Burmese, meaning hitting two birds with one stone in English, are expressed in a similar form across all dialects, even if specific words may change slightly. Well, for instance, water in Burmese would be pronounced as ye, and in Rakhine dialect, it would be pronounced as re. So every culture has their own songs that represent them, but the national anthem is a song of unison for all of Myanmar. But before I finish off, as the younger generations shift toward the dominant language, such as Burmese, they may lose touch with their ancestors' worldview, leading to a sense of displacement and a weakened connection to their roots. Hence, although we might use a primary language to communicate with each other, we should still take a deep pride in our ethnic roots and our cultural identity that made us who we are and our identity. So participate in your traditional festivals, learn your native language, cook ancestral recipes, share your stories with younger generations. By doing so, we not only honor the wisdom and sacrifices of those who came before us, but also ensure that our unique cultural identity continues to thrive. Thank you.